Alright, this is a video for Lab 2 for the FEM. So this week we'll be making the joints between the meshes. So we call that FEM assembly. And those are the 4-pin joints we're going to be making. Let's take a look in the final results. So you can see those are the joints that will be able to rotate. Okay, that's why we call that joints. If you look closely, you can see the spiders, they are actually rotating with respect to each other. And those are not so easy to see. But you got the idea. They will be able to rotate, then they will connect different meshes. Okay. So the elements that will go into the joints, that be RBE2, which we call spiders sometimes. Then we have CBAR. Then we have the CBUSH, that is a spring that'll be able to enable rotation. It looks like SP on the screen. So sometimes we call that CBUSH, sometimes I call it SP, and sometimes Dr. Zarda call it bushing. It's the same thing. Okay. Alright, so we'll stop that, go back to the FEM. And I have already deleted all the 1D connections or the joints I had in this model. So from last week you should have those meshes, and they're not connected. So we're going to be making the joints. The joints, the mechanism is usually, if you want to make those two rotate, what you do is you build a spider to grab this mesh into a node in the center. So that's the spider here that grabs everything into the center, and do the same for the bottom into the center, but those are two different nodes, although they're sitting at the same spot. Then you use a CBUSH to connect them. Then you tell the CBUSH, okay, you're going to rotate on Z direction, then these two spiders is going to be able to rotate on the Z direction. Then the spider is going to transfer the loads from the mesh into the source node, then goes through the CBUSH, then CBUSH goes, then the load goes to the other side. So that's the rotation between two meshes. And the first one we'll be making is the one here between two jaws. Okay, so it's a very simple joints, two spiders with the CBUSH between them. And the load is going to come in from mesh, from the tether to the spider, and then the spider to the CBUSH. And the CBUSH will actually cut off some degree of freedom, the loads on some degree of freedom. Then it'll transfer into the bottom spider, then the bottom spider transfers all the loads to the tether mesh. Okay. Then to create the spider, you need a source node where you can have all the mesh coming into that node. And so to create the node, we need to show the polygon. You can't snap to anything on the mesh. So we're going to hide everything and show the two jaws. And actually you just need to show one, because it's this edge is coincident with the other edge. So we insert a node, two nodes, right here at the center of this edge, which also happens to be the center for the top jaw. Okay, so we have two nodes here, one for each jaw. Now we're done with that. Hide the polygon. We need to hide the polygon as often as possible, because you don't need them. And now we have the top jaw or the red jaw with two nodes. Now we create the 1D connection mesh, and it's RBE2, and the source is here. Which node doesn't matter, you just need to pick one, and the target is all the nodes on the cylindrical face. And to pick them, you have to use a method called feature angle nodes. Okay, so it'll pick any nodes that within certain degree of angle on those faces. So say those two faces, if they're within 30 degrees, the selection will go over to the next face, and so on and so forth. But when it hits the top face, it's 90 degrees. So it's larger than the tolerance, then it'll stop. And you can change the tolerance by clicking this little arrow here. The default is 30 degrees. You can change it to bigger. Okay. So let's try this method, feature angle nodes. If you select one face, it'll bleed all the way to the top, and it'll stop at the bigger or the sharp corner. So that's all the nodes on this face. And you have to auto create a collector for that. We do OK, then take a look in the 1D collectors. You have the spider collector, and that's your mesh, the RBE2 mesh. Okay, so you can also color code this. It's a good habit to rename your collectors so you know which one's which. And this is the red jaw. Okay, so let's make the color a little bit different. You can also change the line width. Okay, but this is too busy here already. So that's for the first spider. Then we can hide this and hide the solid. Now you see there's still one node on the screen. Hiding the spider will hide all the nodes on the spider. So that leaves us only one node on the screen, which is good. So we don't need to differentiate those two, because I know this one is not on the spider for the top. Then we do the same thing for the bottom. We select the source and we select the target, which is using the method feature angle nodes. Just click here, and now you have to pay a little bit attention. The collectors, you can put them in the same collector, but it's a little bit messy. Now you can do another auto creation. It'll give you a default name. You can also, what you can do is just click this button. Say I want a new collector, but also I need a new name that I can define right now. So it's a yellow jaw. That'll create a new collector in the tree. Then you will be putting this RBE2 into the new collector. Okay, so we have one collector for each jaw. Then you can change the color if you want to. We show another one. So those are the two spiders for each jaw. And now, right now, they're not connected. It just happens to have the source node very close to each other. So how do we connect them? We use the CBUSH element. Okay. So CBUSH element is right here. You do insert element and create, and use 1D element. The type is CBUSH, and here you have to auto create. Then select the nodes. So we know there are two nodes there. We just wait a little bit. You can make sure there are two nodes. Okay, if you see three nodes, then you have a problem. Okay, now we click once and click another node. It'll create the mesh here, and it'll also reset the window. So if you see it's a 0 right now, so you might think I haven't created anything, but it's already done. So right now you need to just close this window. Don't click this 1,000 times, then you have 1,000 mesh here. Okay, so after this, you actually want to see the CBUSH on the screen. Right now, if you just show the CBUSH, you don't see anything. You might be able to see a dot there. So to see that SP, you need to edit display, enable text, and if you like to, you can also change the color of the text. Apply, that's the SP for CBUSH. So it stands for spring, by the way. So the size of the font default is pretty small. You can change that by going to preference, visualization, and color and font. So the font size right here, you can do it. Alright, so that's for the connection between the two jaws, and they are already done, finished. Okay, and sometimes you want to make sure they are connected right. How do we do that? We hide everything, you just show one spider, and we have a tool called show adjacent. It'll show the elements that's directly connected to the mesh. So we use show adjacent, you select this mesh, and if you do apply, you would be able to see the elements and that's directly connected to this spider. So you do apply, you see the texture is connected to spider as well as the SP. So you don't see the top spider, that is a good thing. That means the top and the bottom spider is not welded together. Instead, they have the CBUSH in between. So the next step, you want to select the SP. Okay, this box, select that SP and show adjacent. Now it'll show the top. That means your connection is from the bottom spider to the SP and to the top spider. That is a good connection. Then that's the most critical connection in this pin joint. Okay. And the next step is really not needed. I doubt anyone would not connect the spider to the mesh. It takes some skill to do that. Okay. Alright, so that's a good connection. Then we can go back, and so it'll take care of that, the display thing. Alright, so that is for the first pin joints. Then we go into the second pin joints. It is a little bit different, but it's still same mechanism. You connect two sets of meshes using the CBUSH. And the difference here is on the handle. This time it's not one spider, but you have two spiders and connected by the CBAR in the middle. Then the CBAR has one node in the middle to provide a connection to the CBUSH. Then CBUSH goes to your jaw. Okay, so let's hide everything, and we need to create the spiders on the handle side first. So to create a spider, we need to find the source node. To create the source node, you need to turn on your polygons. So that's a polygon. Okay. Now we need to insert two nodes, or actually we need to insert a lot of nodes. So insert a node on the top and the bottom, and we'll be creating spiders on that. And actually you need a node in between that will be able to connect to the CBAR. So while we are at it, we can just create node between nodes. So between the top and the bottom, that'll be able to find the one in the center. That's for the CBAR element. Okay, then we can turn off the polygon, turn on the jaw mesh. So let's go back one slides, and I will create the spider. Okay, RBE2, and again I want a new collector for the handle. We'll say this is the left handle. Alright, then the source node in the center. The target node is along the edge. So here we're going to use another method called feature edge nodes. We'll be selecting the nodes on this edge. And also there's a tolerance here, 30 degrees. It'll calculate the next edge. If that's within 30 degrees, the selection will go on. So we click this, it'll go on and on all around this hole. Okay, so those are the nodes along this edge. And sometimes if your hole has only 4 edges, you will not be able to connect to select all of them because it's larger than 30 degrees. That'll be 90 degrees, right? Okay, so we're done with this. Just do apply. So we can proceed to the next one, and the source node, target node on the edge. Okay, and apply. And this side is done. We can turn this off. You can right click and edit display to color code. Then for the CBAR element, we use this insert element and create. Now use CBAR and from the top to the center. And for the next section, make sure it's on add to existing. So we want this bottom section add to the top section in one mesh. Okay, in the tree. So right here, that's a CBAR element. And also just click here and to the bottom, close, and that's one mesh, two elements. Okay. Now you can also change the color for this one. We'll change it to a little bit sharp color and make it thicker so we can see better. Okay, so bear in mind we only have one node here, and for the spider on the jaw we need another source node, which is coincident with this one, the node on the center. So we'll be able to tie those two together using the CBUSH. Okay, so here we need to insert a node for the spider on the jaw right on top of this node. So now we have two nodes. One is on the CBAR, the other one is for the spider. Okay, so how do we know which one's which? What we do is we just hide everything. That'll just leave the unattached node on the screen. Then we hide the 2D mesh. We can show the yellow jaw here. Now we'll go ahead and create the spider for the jaw. So 1D connection, source node, target node. This time it's not edge, it's the feature angle nodes. Pick one face, it'll go around. Then this time the collector is on yellow jaw. Okay, so that is the RBE2. Then we can hide the 3D and show 1D mesh. Take a look at the structure. So you can see this spider is on the jaw and all the other stuff is on the handle, and they are not connected, and we're going to connect them using CBUSH. So insert element, create a CBUSH element in the same collector, because they are all just a rotational CBUSH. And here's the very critical thing. You have to make a new mesh for each CBUSH. You cannot add to existing. Just make sure you select create new. Okay. Then we have two nodes here, right in the middle, between the mid node of the CBAR and the source node of the RBE2. So you can click twice, or you can just make sure and wait for this menu. Make sure there are two nodes. Click one and select another one. So you can see I have the second CBUSH mesh. Okay, and close. And we can't really see the SP there. You can hide this. Now you'll be able to see it. Now next we have to check the connection. So again we're going to use show adjacent, and this time we hide this first. Control B. Then we'll also hide this and this. Leave only the top spider, or you can do from the bottom. Then we do a show adjacent from the top, apply, so the spider connects to the 2D mesh and the CBAR. Then the CBAR should be able to connect to the SP. And if in this step you see the last picture, that's not good. That means the CBAR is welded on the RBE2 on the jaw, then there's no rotation. So you just want to see the SP. And next step, you select the SP, then you would be able to see the jaw spider. And for the bottom, there should be no problem. Okay. Alright, so that's the structure of this pin joint, and that's pretty good. Then for the other side, okay, even in the slides I said repeat what you just did. but you can't really repeat unless you have another mid surface, because we don't have mid surface on the right side. So to save some time, what we can do is, because of the symmetry, okay, so this joint could be symmetric on the other side if your mesh is reflected to the other side, especially the jaws. If you reflected that jaw mesh to the other side, you should be able to just reflect these to the other side, and those legs of the RBE2 should be able to reach out to the nodes on the mesh at exactly the same spot. So we'll try that. Do insert element, copy and reflect. Okay, we'll select this whole pin joint and reflect with respect to the YZ plane. Okay, and say OK. So this whole set is on the other side. It should match the mesh on the other side, but the only difference is, hope you can guess what's the difference. We do a show adjacent for both of them. You can see the left side, they are actually connected to the mesh, to the texture and to your 2D mesh, but the right side is not connected to anything. So what we need to do is we need to connect them to the mesh so they actually works. So let's start from the 2D. What you can do is do a duplicate nodes. Okay, so from spider to this. Why they have duplicate nodes? Because you reflected that spider from the other side. They have nodes on the legs, and this mesh itself, the 2D mesh itself, already has nodes right at the same spot. So you have two nodes on the same spot. But if you merge them, it's going to connect the RBE2 to the 2D mesh. So that's the idea. Then you do it for the bottom. So for the 3D mesh, let's hide the 2D. If you select the big RBE2 in the middle and select the 3D, it should be coincident, and it should be a lot. Duplicate nodes. Then merge them. So now, if we do the show adjacent again for both sides and apply, you should see similar structure, the connection between the spiders to the texture and the 2D. Alright, so that finishes the pin joints between the handle and the jaws. Now next we'll move to connect those two handles. Alrighty, this is the last joints in this model. Okay, that's between the two handles, and as you can see we have two parts, the left handle and the right handle, and there is a CBAR for one of the handle. So you can put this CBAR on the left side or the right side. The idea is that you just need one pin, and we're going to fix that pin on one side, then the other side is going to rotate on top of that. Alright, so again we're going to hide everything, and we'll insert the nodes for the RBE2s. So the slides will be a little bit easy, concise, more concise than previous slides, because we already know how to create the slide, the RBE2s. So first, again, insert the nodes for the source node on the RBE2. So this one and this one. And actually we need 4 nodes. Okay? One node for the spider on the left side, and the other one for the spider on the right side. So we'll just do this again. Just remember how many nodes they are inserting. And we'll hide the polygon, show one side of the handle first, then insert the spiders. Okay. And by the way, the last reflection we did, we actually made the RBE2s on the right side inside the left handle collector. If you want to organize it better, you should create another collector for that. so I'm not going to do that in the video. Okay, you should do that later, or if you want to. So spiders source node is this one. I don't care which one, because I'm going to hide the one later. And I'll put in left handle. The target node is on the edge, so feature edge nodes. This one, and apply the top. Now for the bottom edge, and apply. So this is for the left side. What we do is we again hide everything, hide the 2D, then show the right side, and that's the node. There's only one node left unattached. The other one is already attached to the RBE2. Alright, source node, and this one's edge, and you probably need another collector. Let's say it's the right handle, and OK, apply. Then we'll do the same for the bottom, and also the same collector, and OK. So those are the four spiders. And let's also drag these two reflected from the left side into the collector for the right side. Okay, and then we want to color code this. And we have here, this should be red. Interesting. So we do this again. Oh, we'll just do that for the mesh. Yeah, not sure why it's not changing color. Oh, I know why. Because it's get covered by the mesh, by the spider on the left side. If you hide any spider on the left side, it'll show the color. There's like the back and the front. So if you show the spider on this side, it'll get covered again. Alright, so we have the four spiders. Now we're gonna create a CBAR for this. So we're gonna hide the 2D and show the spiders on the left handle. So we decide to go with the left side. So create the CBAR on the left side. Insert the element. This is a CBAR, and we need a new collector because it has different diameters. If you can see the size difference, so we need another collector from the top to the bottom straight away. And if you encounter this error, it doesn't matter. It just somehow NX doesn't like this reflect and the bracket, but it will go straight and create the CBAR, and it will not affect any of the simulations. I don't know why it says error, but I had that before and it did not affect anything. Just annoying. Okay, so bar collector, we can probably make it thicker, better looking. Okay, so, and somehow it reflected this bar and created a new collector, and they are the same diameters, so we need to move this to one collector and delete that extra collectors. It doesn't matter, but it's just easier to change the properties. Also, they have the same color. Okay, so this bar is on the left side, and those two spiders on the right side, which you can't see here, it's got it covered. I don't know if we can make it thicker. You can see that. No. Okay, so there are two spiders here, then there are two spiders there, and we have two spiders, and they're not connected. So we're gonna connect them using SP, CBUSH. Okay, the CBAR really doesn't matter because it's just acts as a bridge between top and bottom. So insert element. So what we're doing here is we are connecting the spider on the left handle to the spider on the right handle. And CBUSH, the same collector. Now remember, create a new SP for each spider. So click twice, you have 2 nodes. Then create a new for the bottom 2 nodes. Just click twice because I know there are 2 nodes there. Okay, if you're not sure, you can always check it. And that'll be it. That's the connection between the 2 handles. And now we can enable, or we can tell SP which rotation you want. So here's the CBUSH. Okay, let's hide everything and probably show everything. Okay, I have 2 here and 2 here. There's another one buried inside. Those are the bushings, the SPs. Then you do edit for this collector. There's a property bush 3 is because I already created some before. You should see only 1. So in this property, if you edit this pbush, it'll be blank everywhere. So we want this to rotate on the Z direction here, about the Z. So we don't want them to rotate on any other degree of freedom. What you do is you type in a really good big number. I think it should be 6 power bigger than the stiffness of your model. So it's not necessarily always 8. Okay, it depends on your model. If you have rubbery model, you should decrease the stiffness. And for the last one, we want this to rotate on the Z rotational degree, so we make it a 0. This way, those SPs is going to only rotate on the Z direction. Sometimes you might need to have a ball joint. You're going to free all 3 of the rotation joint degree of freedom. So you would think we're done with the CBUSH, but not. The thing about CBUSH, okay, is for this portion, they don't know X, Y, Z. Okay, even though you tell it to rotate on Z direction, but they don't know which one is Z direction. So what you need to do is select every single mesh, right click and edit mesh associated data, and we do enable the coordinate system override. Then the coordinate system would be absolute. Okay, some models you might need to create another system for them to rotate on a non-XYZ direction. Okay, so here it's the absolute, which is good. So we did the override for all of them. Okay, right now they're good. Then the CBAR properties. And throughout the slides, you would be able to see those circles. That's the profile of the CBAR, and that you only have that after you define the 4 section for the CBARs. So I hope you still remember how to do the property for CBARs. This one is these 2 bars. Okay, we only have 2 bars here in this lab. So the one between the 2 handles is a little bit bigger, which is this one. Edit, and you should have only maybe 1 here. But this model I've already did that a couple times. So anyway, we'll just modify that property, and the 4 section you should have nothing here. Then you create a new section, and the diameter here between the 2 handles is 0.12, which I have already for the first one. You can check, click I, it says 0.12, it's a radius, sorry. So radius, you can modify it, and I measured that from the polygon because I didn't remember that. You can measure that if you want to. And the material is steel for this pin. And okay. Now once you do that, you should be able to see the solid shape of the CBAR. Then for those 2 CBARs, that's a little bit skinnier. Edit, monkey wrench, and you need to go inside here, create another section which is 0.1 in radius, and the material is the same, it's steel. Okay, that looks like this. And why my CBAR looks like that, that's a display option. You can edit display, turn this display section into curves. So that's the difference. This is displayed as curve, this is displayed as solid. And personal preference. Okay, you can do that. Then so that's the all the 1D element, or the joints element. And next week we'll be making the bars between your jaws. That bars got squeezed by the jaws. Then we do the simulation. We should be able to get some results. Alright, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy the making of the model.